There are many benefits to being silent, such as being unpredictable, and I'm going to tell you how to be a silent person by telling you a quick story. This is Kevin. Kevin is extroverted and someone who just loved to talk. He could talk on and on for hours without a break. One night, he went out to dinner with his close friend and someone that he recently met. While they were waiting for the food to arrive, Kevin had started up a simple conversation. The conversation wasn't anything special, but as the food arrived, Kevin felt that he still had to be heard and acknowledged. After all, he identified himself as a talkative person. When everyone was eating, Kevin still felt compelled to talk, even though his friend and the other person were clearly eating and not in the mood. Kevin just kept talking while the acquaintance was visibly uncomfortable. After noticing that, Kevin finally decided to settle down and finish his food. At the end of the dinner, they all just walked together in silence. After he parted ways with the acquaintance and started walking home with his friend, he couldn't help but wonder what he did wrong. Kevin asked his close friend where he went wrong in making that other person uncomfortable. His friend thought about it for a while and said, "Listen, Kevin, you were talking so much and so proudly, yet your words felt empty and devoid of meaning. That person was losing it because you were just talking on and on. She felt her head was going to explode because of how much you were talking, but you really didn't say anything meaningful." Kevin thought about what his friend just said and responded with, "Isn't silence bad and awkward? Humans are social creatures and we need to talk." His friend simply responded with, "No," and they kept walking. Before his friend parted ways with him, he told Kevin to look up what self-awareness is and to learn more about himself. Kevin Googled what self-awareness was and was immediately shocked by the concept. He didn't know himself that well and always thought that he talked a lot because he was extroverted. Kevin chose to journal to improve his self-awareness and started reflecting on what happened a few hours ago. He realized that the acquaintance was uncomfortable because she was someone who was more quiet and preferred the right communication. He was just rambling about stuff that no one cared about, just to be the center of attention. He understood himself more, but still wanted to know why he talked so much. As the days went on and Kevin kept journaling, he finally realized that he lacked self-esteem and confidence. He talked to gain the approval of others, to feel validated and important. With this newfound knowledge, Kevin continued to journal and improve himself. He would be a more quiet person and still love to talk. But now, instead of having meaningless conversations, he is able to have meaningful conversations and appear more charismatic. Kevin finally learned to use his words when he had something to say instead of using them for the sake of using them. He was able to command the respect he desperately wanted just by being a more quiet person and saying less. So how did Kevin become a more silent person? How can you become more silent? The reason Kevin was able to change was because he was able to be self-aware and figure out his problem. He found out that he lacked confidence and worked on changing that. We all had those experiences where we might have messed up and it caused us to have to self-reflect and change something. We all also probably had experiences where someone would just not stop talking and it would be irritating, while you are grateful you are not that person. Even if you didn't have experiences that made you question whether you should be more quiet, if you become more self-aware, you will have the ability to be more quiet. Oftentimes, people talk a lot because they have internal problems that they are battling. By being more self-aware, they can overcome that problem easier and change. A few things to note though. Just because you are a silent person does not mean that you are a mute and don't speak. People that are silent are great in conversation just like extroverts, but in a different way. They are often good listeners, and their opinion holds more value. Also, communication is very important, and there are many benefits to speaking your mind, but there is a time and place for everything. There are times where it is wise to hold your tongue and be silent. You have to learn to read the situation and either talk more or talk less, depending on what is needed. Plus, there's this quote from Plato that I really like that is about silence. Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. Learning how to be silent is an important skill. If you want to learn more about the benefits of being silent, click the card above. Do you think you're a quiet person? Leave a comment below and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.